Hello, everybody. Here we go. It's a change. Look at that. Hello, I'm Dave, and I will be your little host for tonight. We have a recap today. We're recapping episodes 36 to 47 of Malt Magic, Campaign 2. So, thank you everyone for being here. And a general thanks to all the systems that we usually use. I'm not going to go through all of them now, but we are still very grateful that we're able to use those. Check us out on the socials for more information as to when these recaps will be coming about and to keep in touch with our general campaign. But I hope that this is actually going to be useful for anyone who does need that recap, sort of a brief catch up on anything if you have been struggling to keep up. I'd also like to say congratulations to Daisy. So Daisy was our milestone competition winner, giveaway, sorry. And so congratulations, Daisy. I hope that you enjoy your goodies. So anyway, we're going to get straight into it, because why not? Instead of hearing my dulcet tones. So there's going to be the usual warnings of adult language and adult humour, because it's us. I hope you enjoy our recap of episodes 36 to 47. Let's get to it.
Yo.
Hello. How are you all?
Good. Do you know what? I'm glad it's a recap episode, because we'll get to obviously what happened last week, a bit later on, because it was heavy, and I don't think I was quite ready for the ramifications of that this week. So it gives me an extra week to psych myself up.
Before we get started, let's just remind everyone, the lineup, the shorter lineup that we have, but also those who are missing. Usually, you would hear Matt first. He is away on a business trip, so unfortunately, he couldn't be with us for our recap. But my name is Dave, and I usually play Jewel of Shadows, the female Tabaxi rogue, and I am very excited for this recap because it does help not only you guys but us actually work out what on earth has just happened and just debrief it all, because so much happens in these episodes.
I know, and I am Danny, who usually plays Lex, the UMT Clockwork Sorcerer, but I'll mostly be being myself today, although who knows what's going to happen. But the downside of Matt not being here is I make up so many lore points in my head, I'll just put it in the chat, that Matt always goes, Danny, that didn't happen. You made that happen as a joke, and now you think it's actually happened in real life. So who knows what's going to be canon after this recap.
We're going to have full control. The children have been let free in the house, and we're about to mess some shit up. I'm Bodhi. I usually play Edgiest Bones. I'm the son half of Homie and the Dude, and Tom is away because it's his birthday, so he's enjoying a lovely meal my mother has cooked for him, and is going to go enjoy some birthday celebrations.
Yes, happy birthday, Tom. We're sorry you couldn't be here today, but actually I think it's much better for you to be away enjoying your birthday than with us sweaty lot. So
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm looking forward to this recap as well, because I feel like I said before we went live, I'm looking forward to us, hopefully as a group, zoning in a bit more on kind of like what our next step is from all this information we're about to gather. together, or at least formulating ideas in our heads about what the next step is.
Because it's been pretty good, actually, because the episodes we're about to recap have kind of been one solid arc, and we've finished that arc now. We've leveled up as a result. Thank you, Matt. So we are now facing a new chapter and a new story arc, and that's exciting but also daunting, because which one do we pick?
So go on then, Danny. Let's get into where we finished off with our last recap, and let's get into what started and happened.
We're going back to about October time. That's how far back we're going, if you can think that far back. Cavan wasn't with us, as Tom is not with us now, so it's quite apt. We were in Dryad's Gate. We were just taking over Gibby's HQ, and we were trying to enlist some help from the Druids. It just happened to be the Green Heart Festival. Shit was kicking off. The Druids were distracted. The tree was looking a bit worse for wear. Storm clouds were brewing in, and people were going missing. So obviously, they enlisted the help of the best detective agency around, who solved the mystery and saved the day.
The only detective agency around, so I think we have got to some. I mean, again, fill a niche. So why not?
Unique selling point right there.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's crazy to look back at that time and go. So back then, Danny and I certainly, and I think Bodhi, you had been with us for a few episodes. We were looking back at our previous arcs or even where we got to, going, oh, we're much stronger now. We know where we're going. As you've said and said earlier, Bodhi, we still don't know where we're going, though we are now hopefully on a cusp. I'm not jumping ahead. I'm just saying that it's crazy to look back and we were like, oh yeah, we're on the right track now. No, we were still finding out what track we were on.
Yeah. I feel, and it felt like back then, like looking back then, we were lost then. We're still lost now, but at least we know like what part of the world we're in at this point. We're a little bit more, dude. It just feels like we've got a whole box of shit to unlock with these with this recap of things that have happened. Cool. And also, I would like, as we go through, I'd like to just highlight cool moments if we remember anything that people did, or things that were meant a lot to us, or things like that. I think that'd be cool to talk about as well, because I have a couple of those throughout the last couple episodes that have been really cool.
We've definitely got many. I tell you what, while we go into this episode, let's start with something, and that is, Bodhi, I know that you can only talk for yourself. Tom can't necessarily answer this one, but what has it been like for you guys, for Homie and the Dude, to come on with Malt Magic?
Great question, dude. That's an interesting question. I think for me, it's just been a massive pleasure. Obviously, like I've really enjoyed and have been, from the first episode, I was really kind of locked in and just loved you guys. I think, Dave, I love your depth of character, and I love our characters' interactions. And sometimes, it feels like groups at times in D&D often all fucking agree with each other, and it's like this thing that is just not very realistic. Everyone's like yes manning the whole way, and I feel like our group actually like discusses things like a group and have different personalities that both gel and clash at different moments depending on morals and things like that. So I love that about you, Dave.
I think you're right. That depth really makes a difference, because as you say, in improv, you're meant to yes and everything. I do agree with you personally. I think that is sometimes a mistake, and if our characters are meant to not all be the same person, so they're going to fundamentally disagree with stuff, and that is why. And we also, with that background of wanting yes and, do want to stop us going, I'm going to make a decision that's going to hold us back for months. None of us want to do that. And so it is, as you say, it's that interesting battle inside, but you've got to play your character.
And on that front, we're trying to lay low, keep under the radar sort of thing, whereas Edges then goes the other end and he's actually actively touting business, saying, here's our business card, I've had some badges made up. But actually, that worked out.
Talk to our receptionist.
Yeah, but this fucking random old lady who's now our receptionist, who's definitely the big bad. But the fact that you did that led us to find out that some elven girls had gone missing. We took the case, and it turned out that was actually pivotal to solving the mystery of the heart. When we went under the tree and that druid was there, the ancient druid. So if you hadn't have done that, your character hadn't done that and just gone along with us trying to lay low, it probably wouldn't have happened.
I think, it's an interesting place. I think I'm evolving with Edgius as well as we go, which I'd love for each of us to talk about actually the characters that we play at some point during this as well, because I think there's a difference between talking about how I feel about the stream and how I think Edgius is doing and where I am with playing him as a character and things. But also, like, Danny, I think you and I are very like-minded. I think we think very alike. As you mentioned recently, it feels like you're an older version of myself in many ways, which is hilarious. I love Matt just because of his creativity. I feel like as GMs, we see a lot of things very similarly, and obviously Tom's my dad, so no complaints there. But I think for me, coming in and being a part of this team has just been a pleasure. I think the story's really great. I feel like, on my end, I more have anxiety that I'm hoping that I'm just contributing to this, that I'm bringing something to it that you guys appreciate. I think it's very rare that I'm like, oh God, like I'm like, this stuff, but often it's more me being like, man, I really hope that like everyone's having a good time and that like, we're all feeling good and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think my GM mind kicks in. I'm session zeroing as we're playing in my head of like, hope everyone's having fun and that I'm not overbearing and I'm not taking too much limelight.
But
and,
I think that's really nice, and it's definitely something that we that I've certainly noticed, and I feel very similarly to the way, Bodhi. I want to get things on a roll sometimes, but so maybe it is, I go, right, sort of, let's skip this bit, let's cut this off. But there are other times when I'm also worried that I've gone, like, I've talked too much and I'm like, shit, I better shut up, so there are a number of times when it's that, and we're not always going to get it right, but it's that attempt to, and always worry that we are doing it right or wrong. I think that's nice. I think I've seen that from all of us, that we all try and make sure that we share.
I mean, there's definitely times where we've spent 2 episodes mulling about, right? And
we literally haven't left a room.
Can we just montage this bit and move on? Yeah. Actually, some of my favourite moments of Lex and Bodhi interactions, or your Bodhi, Edgius, Lex and Edgius, or Edgius and Cavan even, some of those moments that I've really liked and enjoyed role-playing have been inconsequential moments where we've just gone to the shop to buy some mushrooms and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's been a hilarious interaction, and we've ended up with an old lady receptionist or some random shit. So it is gold sometimes.
I agree, and I think we're all working out that balance. I think, as a team, we're all finding our balance with each other. I think, we're trying to find the balance with the characters, and then I think, along with all of that, we're trying to find the balance with the plot. And we spoke about this the other day about, we want to keep things rolling a bit more in the future. Still have those nice moments where, and I think maybe what we need to be better at is separating the downtime from, we're still in active plot chasing mode, cool. Downtime is the time to sit and be like, hey, so tell me about your family. Let's, dig into your character. Let's have a bit of like an actual conversation that 2 characters sitting around a fire, might have while they're traveling or something, as opposed to moments where it's like, yo, we are like actively like, we came here to do something and now we're like fucking around talking about random shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we're finding that balance.
Finding that balance is important, yeah, as you say. When we're sitting down and it is, is there anyone wants to talk about, is a great thing where we can do it. I think that's also great when we're travelling, just to try and get that fun. And the fact that we did that one, again, I'm sorry I'm skipping ahead, the fact that, may not be skipping ahead actually, but it was actually just before this lot, and that was when we all just randomly found moose and decided to name them and walk, and ride them in. Was a bit out of nowhere that was great fun. That type of stuff is really good, and as you say, it is in real life you would go, I'm not talking about this now, we need to do this, like I'm going to put a pin in that. And we're getting better at it, and we do need to lean more towards it. And if we're just going, okay, we've sat down now, I'm going to roll that back. What were you going to, I want to talk to you about this. So, yeah.
And that's exactly what we did, to be fair. As soon as we found out those girls were missing and something was happening with the tree, and we found out you could get under the tree, we just fucking head first straight in.
Oh, yeah.
No messing. Didn't even chat about whether we were doing it. We were straight in. And we found some fucking ancient chained up druid singing, whoa, creepy as fuck. causing havoc.
Yeah.
But obviously, we came out victorious because we're badass.
Did we find out whether that was anything connected to what basically our general campaign?
Well, I've got a theory.
Yes.
Because, the whole thing is the Heart Festival, they sing a happy song, but all of the missing elven girls were singing a sad song, and it was the druid sad song that he had been lost, but it had been found again. So was the sad song resurrected almost by Klein or VS or M to throw us off their scent and distract us by keeping us in Dryad's Gate fighting this thing that actually was meant to be a side quest to make sure we were losing the trail of the main thing, or it kind of was pivotal in the way because the druid, as a result of defeating the ancient druid, the Dryad gave us a Star Touch crystal.
Yes.
So it was pivotal for that reason because that druid had tried and used it for evil.
Yeah, and I was going to come to that point, Danny. It was the fact that druid wanted to use it for evil, whereas our intentions were, for want of a better word and cliche, pure. We did just want to simply close a portal. So, yeah, it was a very interesting one. That is where we met a couple of very important people, some very important people of Dryad's Gate. So we met Daryl.
Not his real name, but that is
not
what
his real
he's
name,
called
but it's
now.
his name that we've called him. And then we also met the other important one. What was his name?
Brom.
So yes, Brom. Now we'll get on to how useful Brom has been in more recent episodes, but yes, we are very glad to have been able to make some allies, and we are finally growing that sort of group of trust with some crucial and important NPCs.
So do you think I'm overthinking it? Do you think that Dryad was going to give us a Star Touch crystal regardless? Probably, if I'm optimistic. But do you think the whole bringing the sad song, trying to get her to be possessive over the crystal, not give it to us, do you think that was a ploy? Because we needed it to heal the
It was
portal.
either a ploy or it was just... it could also have been the rumblings... Not the rumblings. It was a chain effect from all the crap that our adversaries are doing. You do this and it wakes up this ancient creature... you know what I mean? You get the ripples in the earth and in the fabric of the world. So I do believe it has some connection. I don't believe that it is utterly integral. But yes, I still think.
I'm going to put a bet out there as a GM that Matt made these 3 different quests having no link to anything. And I think he's then, as he's come, I think it's then linked up together, and there's been the shadow with the moon seeds. There's then been this dark song that was shadowy with the Dryad, and all of these little moments that we've had that have been almost kind of laced in. I think he's done, I imagine, my guess is that I don't think it matters to the overall story, but I guess that it is us dealing with something that is a repercussion of, like Dave said, of our adversaries, of the antagonists working in the background while we're still doing stuff. They're also still doing stuff, and we're just encountering some of that along our way. But I imagine that I'm not sure if there's much more with that personally.
No.
To be fair, we did spend a lot of time gathering the ingredients to heal a portal, which was just one task.
Yeah.
And it took us a long time to do that. So if anything, if that was a way to throw us off their scent and throw us off track, it did distract us for about 2 months in game time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
To allow them to open the other portals or do what they need to do.
To escape, to move on, to do anything else. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe it was the loss of that portal or whatever was that experiment. They were like, we'll lose it because, as you say, we are tied down for weeks. So absolutely. Where did we go from there then? What was next?
Well, the next bit that we did was one of my favourites, is when Aegeus discovered Klein was still alive because he used the scrying spell with some remarkable dice rolls, might I add, because scrying is not really in your repertoire. They absolutely fucking nailed it.
Nat 20, baby.
Yeah. And then the whole scrying on Klein. He's a disfigured creature with one eye and then a crystal for another eye. And the crystal, why that's significant is it matches the shard that Aegeus has in his possession. Yep. And then that's when we see Jane as a disfigured, scaly, horrible creature, Cyclops in a cage, which then linked it back to VS, who we were looking for, because we know VS and JS were there.
They were there and also related. Now, that was information we had guessed, and I suppose we haven't still had it confirmed, but it's definitely something that we believe is true.
We had it confirmed last week, actually.
Yeah, Jane is VS's niece.
You are correct. So our information actually turned out to be correct on that one.
We got a hunch right for a change.
We did get a hunch right. Our main one of Mayanora is M. We found out not to be true, but again, I try not to jump too far ahead on this one. Yes, that information about Klein was quite incredible. And again, I have to say, Edgy's coming back to you guys joining us. I wanted popcorn while I was watching that. Like, I'm sitting in the background here, just fully immersed in that whole scene. Was absolutely incredible.
What I think was great, not to blow smoke up your ass.
I think Matt did a good job there.
Yeah, not to
you both did.
blow your trumpet there, Bodhi. But what was really good is then how you role played that afterwards. Like, you thought he was dead. You'd planned for a whole year to defeat him. You thought you'd done it, and then you do a spell and he's still alive. And how you then reacted over the next couple of episodes.
Your full-on anxiety attack, hyperventilation sort of esque response PTSD. To that. Yeah.
I think that's also when you then went, fuck, shit just got real. And then you see Aegeus start to become more serious.
Yeah.
The fucking doors do that.
I was just going to say, like, speaking of all of this, but Danny's room is haunted. So for anyone on the podcast and hearing all the noises, his door just keeps randomly opening behind him.
It's not even like my cat's doing it, because my cat's not even there. Well, actually, my cat is just there. I've just spotted it. So it's my cat. It's not a ghost. It's my cat. Roll a 20 on stealth.
Incredible.
Check for ghost doors, mate. You know.
Do you know what, guys? I appreciate it, and I think something that I've realized is a couple of different things. In the last couple of episodes, you're right, Aegeus is super outgoing, and I realized that I hadn't written like a proper, like, almost like, not manifesto, but like character, like personality description for Aegeus. I kind of had one in my head and was loosely going about stuff, but I wanted to like actually get it down on paper. So after that interaction and a few other bits, I've now started to try and like zone in a little bit more where his head is at this point in time and try and fight a bit more. And that was like the starting point of that. And I have little like slip backs into like pure fuckery. But I definitely think, I'm trying to find a bit more of that seriousness in what we're doing, because it's starting to get, it's like you said, it's real shit now. Like, this is stuff that matters to people and stuff like that. And I think, I enjoy because we are such a good group and we all do like gel so well. I enjoy the goofing about and the having a laugh with you guys. That at times I forget that like sometimes some of the shit we're dealing with is so fucking serious. Cracking wise isn't always fucking appropriate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
Go
on, Danny.
All I was going to say is, what's really hard is Danny wants to get involved in the fuckery. Right, so he has to remember he's playing Captain Spock essentially. So Lex has to be like, "Oh no, we haven't got time for this. We're doing a serious mission and we've got serious business to attend to." So that's why I like it sometimes when he fails his meditation check. And I'm like, "Oh, we can get a little bit involved. Cause a little bit of drama."
I know I've spoken about this before. I play Jewel very differently now than when I started. I wanted her to be very sort of quite serious. Young and therefore not really understanding, cautious of everybody, but it was funny how her humour side came out when it was the opposition to stuff, and especially when Aegeus came on the scene and was just like the occasional mid battle like slap fights that they would have, like having this mini argument halfway through a battle, is the type of stuff I actually then really start to enjoy. Totally never expected that to be a thing. As you say, we're all taken it seriously. Our characters are really taking it seriously, and it comes out in some hilarity at times.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah, fully agree. So we had my weird scrying situation, and then where did we head after that? Was our like next thing straight back to the elders? Like, how did we get round to the? Like, I don't remember how. Oh, we were going back to the portal. Of course we were. Of course we were.
Yeah. So, well, after we got the last ingredient to fix the portal, Callum started getting real edgy about we need to go to the portal now. We need to go to the portal now, and I was like, and Lex was like, Callum, it's really important to me. Of course it is, but. But we're here now. We need to fix this. Then we need to do this, and that's when we found out Callum had made a deal with his warlock patron because he got his dad. He kept his Lord of Winter, because he had his dad hostage as a frozen statue, and he wanted us to fix the portal for him to give his dad back. So we were starting to think Callum was being a bit shady and starting to distrust him. And then when he actually came clean, we were like, "Why don't you just tell us that? And we'd have helped you straight away."
Yeah.
In a proper bro moment, and then
do you know what that was truly? And I'm like, I definitely am interested to know what Matt's thinking was with all of that. I think, I would love to have a deeper conversation with him, but I felt like Callum was such an integral part of the group. Obviously, putting our favorite NPC in jeopardy makes sense, but I would be interested to hear why he chose that moment, why he like it's super interesting in terms of character-wise, because we were all starting to love on Callum like in a serious way. It was starting to become a consistent
I think that's
thing.
why he did it.
I think it's I think it's threefold. Yeah, very similar. So one, we're playing a D&D campaign, and he wanted to give us some assistance when there was just a few of us. So in all seriousness, D&D campaign, he was actually going to get rid of that assistant when Tom was coming back in.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes stuff, that's what happens. That's what we know. However, I love we have suddenly, become to love this NPC so much that it was great to basically be. We now want to save him, and that realism that someone else is out there struggling, and again, it's very interesting. There's nothing that we can really do about it.
I think as well, Matt. A couple of things. He was a callback to campaign 1 because we met him as a kid in campaign 1. But I also think Matt might have not killed him off, but got rid of him for a bit because he didn't want him to become another Bothrid. So in campaign 1, we took on a sidekick character. He started out as a hostage, and they ended up being the glue that kept the team together, and we would all give our lives for this man. And I just think for a different dynamic, he didn't want Callum to be that again. Although we're going to save him, it was nicer than bringing a different NPC who we've got another companion now. So I think he might have done it for that sort of reason as well.
Yeah,
I think that's an interesting thought.
It's very much twofold. One, for the story. Two, for the dynamic of literally to cover for the fact that Tom wasn't there, sort of, or Tom was coming back in. So it's that dual dynamic. Yeah, we absolutely would already die for this man, which is just hilarious. And yeah, we don't need another Bothrid, but I can very much see it coming into the bigger picture, and it does make sense. His pseudo dad.
Matt's just confirmed it on the YouTube live chat. I called it.
He has indeed. It is that very fact. So sorry. Callum's pseudo dad was a plane. Was it plane rider?
Horizon Walker Ranger.
Horizon Walker. So basically looking for portals. It absolutely ties in. But yeah, very, very interesting. And yeah, giving those like actually, I wouldn't even call it a side quest. It's almost a sub main quest. Is to get him back.
Because mainly, to be honest, Lex wants to get him back because it's Callum. But also Lex wants to get him back because of his dad. His dad can identify portals and rifts in time and space, right? And
we want to get him back so that we can send off a little party to say, can you go fix this shit while we're doing the main thing? Because otherwise, Lex has absolutely got it on his mind that there are these portals that have been corrupt and need to be resolved. And if you've got that little niggle, then you're not concentrating on the main thing, are you?
Do you know what? I think we need to also, in a weird way, I think we need to start, because we've kind of done it a little bit, but I feel like we need to start building a network of allies. That means that when shit hits the fan, we can put a fucking like ascending spell out to the masses. Get Brom, get Daryl, get Gibbon, get the old lady receptionist, you know, get Bronze, get Dream, you know, get all these like people that we're like gathering as our kind of collective.
I think we're doing that. Seriously, I think we're actually doing that. You know, we've certainly got Brom on our side, and he's also going to talk to some of the councils of nearby cities.
Council of Ireland, yeah.
Right, so we are already starting to do that, and you're absolutely right, is because we are playing this as the small group who nobody knows, detective agency world building, this is, you're absolutely right, we actually have to create our own assistance, our own networks of help. Because we are not playing this campaign as we are the the big heroes. We are playing as the unsung heroes, I suppose, but we're not playing that big hero, campaign at the moment where we're chosen by the king to help. So we don't have any resources behind us, and we are actually having to attempt to get them.
I think. Dude, is it anti-hero or what's the other one, like anti-villain kind of vibe? You know, we're this group of people that have come together, and for better or for worse are like, fuck man, this is a shit show, let's try and solve this. But I agree. I think it gives us substance. It's relatable substance. You know, no one can relate to fucking Thor. Everyone can relate to fucking Bruce Wayne when he's a kid and his parents get shot and he's feeling struggle. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. I mean, you know, the humbling side of, you know, you started to relate to Thor after the humbling sides of the later movies. If we're just going to go on the movies, do you know what I mean? That you know, actually now that you have gone through that hardship, now we agree. You know, when he was just a douche at the start, yeah, as you say, we can't relate. So being that as people of, we started just on the fucking run. Like that's you know how basically how we started, to now get to the point of going, okay, nobody else knows this shit. I wish I could tell someone else. We can't, so therefore we are going to have to do this. That is really like, it's almost crushing, but you've got to get on with it.
Are you guys clear now? Because as far as I understood it, weren't you guys wanted by the wizard dudes, but the wizards dudes sent us that raven and was like, yo, you guys are doing a great job.
Authorities in Thaylissa, the first place we were at before you joined, and that was the murder.
Before the Crystalline Isles, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Crystalline Isles, they very, very quickly went, we know of your story, tell us your side. Okay, your side sounds good. You're fine. But yeah, they can't help with anything in Thaylissa. Basically, if we go back in, we've either got to go in with a big fat, you know, seal from another, you know, area, kingdom, or word has got to spread, or we've got to take down the corruption in Thaylissa from the outside before. Because
to be fair, the magistrate who we were aligned with, who could clear our name, is also on the run now.
Yeah,
and we haven't spoke to him for a while actually, but we probably never will again.
So back to it. We went back and we tried to fix the portal.
We did.
We did,
and that was the whole next episode, fixing the portal, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't harness the crystal well enough. We got the dewdrop infused with laughter, and we got the moonflower. We just couldn't seem to get it working because it was me trying to do the ritual by myself. And then it turned out that we needed a contribution from all of us, Callum, Edgius, me, even you, as a non-magic user, to close the portal. But because I suppose the thing is we weren't healing it, it was corrupted too far that we ended up having to just shut it completely, and that's why it was so difficult to do, because we weren't just restoring it. We had to recall, shut it down.
We basically did heal it, but as you say, if you think of it, you know, it was...
It healed into the wrong one.
We to the wrong way. It basically passed that midpoint of corruption, and therefore we actually pinged it to the wrong side. And so, yes, we then decided that we were then going to close it. I say that, very split second, this has to be closed right now.
So... And that's when Edgius found the portal key. near the portal, so the obsidian shard, which is useful because we can use that to close another Shadowfell portal or a Shadow Plane portal if we find one. But then the second half of that episode, we went. So this is when shit started to get real. We went back to the elders to tell them, and that's when Jewel, you went invisible to see what they did after we left, and that's when they killed Solara.
Yes, so we then found out that the elders, all but one of them, are total D-bags. And they did try to give us some information in an attempt to get rid of us. One of them, Solara, gave us too much information in their eyes. Even though, as it turned out, it ended up being sort of the wrong information, but the information that was put to the public. And they unceremoniously killed her for her slip of the tongue. Jewel saw everything, and then proceeded to follow that body down to find. We don't know much more than what Jewel saw. Basically, to be fed to some sort of horrific worm, like many other people have been. So, I think that the only reason we've seen that there's very little crime in More Stacy is they're probably just fed to a creature under the Elders' council. And yeah, she made a bug out. In the meantime, it then did get, shit got real for Edgius, Lex, and Callum.
Well, yeah, because then that's when we hatched our plan. Callum was gone because we went to the. We said we need to speak to the Lord of Winter to tell him we've fixed the portal, expecting good news, and we get Callum's dad back. Turns out he's pissed off that the portal's closed. There's no Feywild portal anymore. He took Callum, gave us a little frozen baby Callum for our troubles, and said, "You'll get him back when you give me a portal." But then that's when we decided to hatch our plan, and we bought those rooms in the tavern, but didn't actually stay there because we were suspicious of the elders, even though Jewel hadn't confirmed what had happened to us yet. We were still a bit suspicious about them, so we thought, if we're going to be followed, we'll set up a booby trap in the hotel room and we'll camp outside. And then that's when Cavan came back.
Love that. Yeah. Do you know what, actually? That plan is something that I have been waiting to use in a D&D game for so long. I've had that one like in the back pocket of like the whole bait someone into if you're being followed, bait them back to an inn, camp outside and fucking ambush them. Has been like
it worked really well.
I really like how that panned out because it was Daryl obviously going, "Good night, guys, I'll see you in the morning," doing really bad acting to pretending we were in the room. But then when we actually found out they were in the room, you go barging in. I think I'm going to climb up into the window and get him from behind. I failed all my rolls and couldn't even get the drain pipe. So then you just burst in by yourself and then you just fucking start interrogating them, and it's brilliant because you made all the intimidation checks and they were shitting their pants, and you were like, it was kind of like Pulp Fiction-esque.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think I'm like part of like Edgius's evolution is I'm starting to realize like I'm the bard. I'm the like I should be, next to I feel like Jewel, who is like the cool like the counterpoint to me. I feel like I should be fucking leading when it comes to needing to like converse, like either manipulate, persuade, or like intimidate. Like I feel like as the bard. And having such high charisma, it's like it's fucking time to actually use what I fucking have actually got to make that happen.
Yeah. And I think I had to do that dynamic a little bit. If it's a situation where we just need to spit facts and we need to get to a logical conclusion, we're sending Lex because he's still got his persuasion checks. He's not charismatic in the sense of the word, but I suppose it's his best stat, right? So we can persuade people with logic. If it's we need to spin a bit of a yarn and get people on side and we don't want to tell them the whole truth, that's when we roll Edgius out.
So that's where I think that, interestingly, Cavan and Jewel are then very similar in the fact that only when they speak, because they won't speak very often, that's when things might be getting serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're absolutely right. Basically, ironically, the face man, Edgius, the one who's going to talk to do all of that lot, Lex to logically convert them, and then it's either Cavan's just going to go, look, it's words, we do this or we fight, and Jewel is very much will only say something when it's like got to happen.
Yeah, Joel would rather receive information than give it out 100%. But what I like is how Tom plays Cavan, where it's like, right, they've asked you once and you haven't given the answer we want, so I'm going to punch you in the head now.
Yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it because, again, so I've obviously just compared that Joel and Cavan are very similar, but immediately then they're very different again in the fact that, Joel is invisible, sitting there going, no, oh, never mind.
You're asking all the wrong questions. Yeah.
So, yeah, totally, again, just love the dynamic. Really love it.
And I think if we were going to be giving out BAFTAs and Oscars for a bit of a performance, the whole Cavan returning Edgius and Cavan beef for that episode in a bit was fucking phenomenal cinema. Absolutely brilliant cinema. And then the actual makeup scene where you shagged on the roof. No, the makeup scene where you had the heart to heart on the roof. That got me in the feels for real.
Do you know what I think as well? Like two things around that. First of all, I think that was aided. So the setup of the anger made the end bit so much better, and I think as well. Actually, I think the bit that like really put that whole scene, that like gave me goosebumps. Even thinking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps like thinking about it. Was actually we have this like beautiful end scene with Cavan and Edgius, and they have this beautiful moment. They're smoking together, they're playing some music. And almost in that like 80s, like almost like the season ends, like almost like the season ends. We're about to like, there's lots of like, you can see resolutions happening, but you can see problems picking up in other places, emotions all over the place within the cast. For me, it was Lex being like, I'm going to just dive into this book for a little bit and see what I can find. And then I'm going to like fall asleep listening to the music. And it was then Dave, you being like, I fucking write the word justice and fucking knife that shit onto the board, and for Sylara, and you put like the necklace on there. And like, to me, actually, all of those moments individually, I think without your guys' two individual moments next to mine and Tom's, I don't think that scene would have had the impact that we all ended up feeling at the end of it. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention about those like emotional scenes and shit like that is, I feel like as a group, we've got so much room to have some of those moments. Like there's going to be scenes, and moments where people are going to have ups, we're going to have downs, we're going to have, this kind of stuff. And I think as a group, I think a lot of the character development and things like that happen in those moments, and the characters start moving and kind of growing, and you start seeing relationships and stuff. So I'm on board for all of that. Like, I think, how we were talking about earlier, getting that balance of like goof versus like montage. I think there's another factor in there, which is finding those beautiful moments next to the montage stuff. So pushing the plot forward, but then taking time to be like, actually, I'm about to have a moment with Jewel because we need to deal with something that we've been like going through, or, they need some support from someone, or, or even just like, here's some questioning about your character so that you can unlock some more about your character and talk to us about stuff we might not know, but above table we do, or something like that. I feel like there's room for that.
In our most recent episode, it's been really useful for me. Again, to actually expand on who Jewel is. Again, before it's just traveling, and then it's suddenly like, oh, by the way, we're back with your family. Now, how are you going to be? And I actually got like emotional in the last episode when I'm like, Jewel's just got back to her family. She's like early 20s, and she's died. She's on a mammoth path. And she's back with her family, and it's just like, and this is now safety. You know what I mean? But again, throw that sort of that spanner in the works of with what we believe is mortal enemy in her living room.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've tried to do subtly with Lex, and it's hard to keep myself on track with it because when Lex first comes on the scene, like I say, he's Captain Spock. He's logical. He's got his prime directive, where he needs to sort out these planar rifts, help mechanics figure out why it's all happening. But then he's got these, and he was very transactional with Jewel when they first met.
Oh yeah.
And with Edgius when they first met. But slowly, personal relationships are starting to encroach on his prime directive, and he's actually trying to justify to himself why this side quest is part of his prime directive. But what I think I probably don't do enough is then play Cog on the other side of that, saying, why are you doing this side quest? It's got fuck all to do. So when in the last episode last week, just to jump ahead a little bit because it helps with my point, when all of a sudden Cog came out of my pocket and was like, there's a fucking portal over there, why aren't you sorting it out?
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I need to do more of that, because in theory Cog is supposed to be keeping me on mission.
Yeah.
And then I have to explain to Cog why it's part of the overall mission, and you guys are part of the great equation. Our fates are intertwined, and actually helping you helps me. And I think I need to bring that bit more in with Cog.
Do you know what, dude? I thought that scene was brilliant because what you did that was great was Lex as a character hasn't like fully converted to like emotions. So I loved, in my head when I was picturing that scene, I saw Lex sat there like legs shaking, like being like, I need to okay, stop asking fucking questions, like, can we go do this now, kind of thing. And in my head, that's kind of how I pictured you doing, and the way you described it was what I was kind of envisioning in my head, and I felt really true to character. Like, it felt very, very true to Lex almost having like this borderline panic attack of like, cool, I'm so close to something that is like within my inner nature to like deal with, and yet we're sat here around a fucking table having tea. Like, you know, we're talking about relatively on the spectrum of things that is on Lex's priority list is probably fucking low, you know, on the priority list in a weird way.
I think that comes back to then, like Bodhi, as you said. It would have felt very unnatural if Cavan coming back to Edgius and you'd have gone, oh, hey, thank God you're just in time. I want to punch you in your face right now, and I don't care if that's going to, cause any issues. It was the totally emotional response. And yeah, I again love that dynamic, and I do remember thinking this is exactly how Lex would be. He's sitting there, not listening to the conversation, going, Thursday, what? I don't know, and just constantly basically looking out of this thing. You got Edgius in Jules' home with a sword out to their guest. Jewel going, the fuck is going on?
This is my living room.
This is my living room, and also I'm going, and also going, Edgius, put the fucking knife down. My sister's up there, and this whole dynamic, and then Cavan just going, who do I punch? Was amazing. And again, when Edgius got angry and Cavan, followed, was again totally that response of seeing that Cavan is the barbarian he is with a heart. That really,
dude,
that was
such a heart, bro.
Yes, of course you do had your bro moment on the roof, but I think that it was magnitude multiplied by him coming after you. And as I say, it was so weird doing the, what the hell is going on here in her living room. And as I say, that whole like emotional hit of, I just want to be home. Dad, please take this trouble off me. Was really impactful as to, and again, thinking back to that, like, think what Jewel had to do to basically suck that up and go, no, we got to go and fix this shit right now. And also the rug's been pulled from underneath her, that her parents are so well connected to stuff that she feels like she was utterly blindsided by. Like, how the hell did I miss all of this? Really, really interesting episode.
I'm excited to see Jules. I've been really excited I feel like there's a conversation with your parents, and I feel like it's going to come when we leave. It feels like we're building to, like, as we leave, there's going to be a conversation between you guys that is going to be, this beautiful moment of you expressing all this stuff that you're talking about, that, like, I miss you guys. Like, I wish I could fucking, like, nothing more in this world makes me want to stay other than the fact that I know that there might not be a world if we let this stupid shit continue happening. And, I'm really hyped, actually, Dave, to see you and see Matt as well flex what a mother and father, having not had their child at home while dealing with all this shit, and just all of you guys have that moment. That's something I've been really
totally. Because again,
looking forward to.
just thinking outside, we don't know, and that's the great thing about it. I haven't given Matt this is what they are. I've got a paragraph for each of them. What Jewel knows that they do. Literally, librarian and basically a blacksmith, but not a weaponsmith. And we have seen that that's not true, and I love that. I because everything so far has been absolutely bob on why they could be. And it is, that wall is being taken away, that curtain's being opened. And she's now seeing that she was utterly naive. She may have never needed to have known that. She could have continued to be naive, but fate has chosen her to be the one, and she's finding this shit out. And it is, how does she respond to that? Because honestly, it could be everything from, shoulder it to completely flip out. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know. That's why I love it, because it is like, what is that conversation going to turn out, and how is it going to be? Because that's the way that the role playing goes.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a sign of good parents, though, actually, which then will endear you to them more. Because if your kid thinks you're just two boring adults, right, then you've sheltered them from potential harm and outside influences. And like, if your dad was a piece of shit back in the day and he's a reformed gangster, the fact that you don't know that is he's done his job right. You know what I mean?
Totally. Again, all those connections and everything. So really, really, really interesting.
It's that whole scale, Danny, almost that you're saying of like, wow, you guys really deceived me, which I'm not okay with. But you're also badasses, and there's so much more depth to you than I thought, which is awesome. And both of these are very conflicting feelings.
Yeah,
in my
and
body.
it would just be that thing of like, right, let's move on. And
I'll tell you what we have glossed over. When Cavan returned, he brought Mace with him, which happens to be a fucking 8-foot tall copper warforged.
Dude, I don't know what to make of that fucking robot, bro.
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, again, Mace, I strongly believe is the automaton that we found. Yes.
Because before you joined, after Jewel died and she came back and she had her astral plane powers, she had a vision of a ghostly battlefield.
Yeah.
And of an ancient battle happening, which Mace has talked about in episodes. And we found a foot sticking up out of the ground, and we pulled it out and then tried to dig it out, the rest of this warforged, and then something happened and we had to run off. And it turned out that warforged was Mace, and that's why he's missing a leg. It's because we took his leg, dropped it as we escaped, but didn't fully, and us trying to dig him up woke him up.
Okay, I see.
So the fact
which is very cool.
That's how he's linked into Jewel's visions and stuff.
It's what Cavan got drawn to from his deity, like, go and help this thing out. You need to be helping each other. So
I like what Matt is doing as well, because Cavan and Lex, you wouldn't think would get on as characters. They've got completely different motives for doing stuff. Cavan acts with his heart, Lex acts with his head.
Yep.
And yet, he worships Paragon, who in a vision talks to him about keeping balance, keeping things on a level playing field. And as soon as he said that, Lex is like, oh, fucking hell, me and Cavan have got quite a big thing in common here. He worships a god who has the same ethos as Mechanus, who is my mentor, pseudo-father figure, whatever.
/ deity.
Linking it all together. And then you, with Edgius, with the Moonflower Lady, you're then getting into some deity stuff as well, which then makes you appreciate Cavan's religious side a bit more.
Exactly.
So it's good how it's all working out, I think.
I hope it's not, and I hope it's not frustrating to Matt, and I don't think it is. I like playing Jewel as the Watcher has openly tried to assist Jewel, and she has reluctantly accepted some help, but is still so suspicious of the motherfucker that, more than I am, if that makes sense. Like, I would just be like, hey, great, this is awesome. But I'm like, I can't play Jewel like that. Right? She detests magic and feels that this is a higher form of person magic, of going, this, big deity. Just like, why do I trust you? Do you know what I mean? Like,
also, you got to think you're not old enough to remember the gods because the gods disappeared 30 years ago. You're only 20, right?
Yeah.
So to you, gods is just super magic in a way.
Yeah.
So the fact that
that's
you
a
don't
much
like
better
magic,
representation of what I was trying to say. Yeah.
You've met a demigod and you're like,
Yeah.
fucking hell, that's like next level magic. I don't trust him, but at the same time, he kind of helped me save my life and all that stuff. So it's kind of reluctant acceptance, like you reluctantly accept our magical help.
Very reluctantly, yeah, and it was over time. And again, that's the thing, is like going, okay, he hasn't hurt me, he hasn't told me to do anything, he hasn't got into my head and said stab this person. So there's that slow reluctance in the background to go, look, he might be on our side. But that's the point. You know, this poor dude out there, you know, as you say, like demigod, is going, hi, I'm here to help, and Jules like, I don't trust that. You know, it's just the way that we've got to play it, because there's no way.
Do you know what, I'm sat asking the same question. I've been asking since the moon spirit lady whether at some point I'm gonna take a level in warlock because it feels like that shit's coming a little bit. But I also, like, you know, I was talking to Tom about it. I was like, you know, thinking, do I bet that this moon deity is either gonna like try and warlock me and be like chill, be like, hey, I'll give you power, like let's be buddies, or do I think that me planting seeds in places is like fucking opening portals, or like, you know, doing the exact opposite of what we're trying to do? I'm seeding, you know, her shit, but I'm gonna keep planting the seeds when it's relevant. But I think at some point I'm definitely like, I'm scared to plant that third seed, because I'm like, fuck, man. So it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad. It's not,
is she suddenly going to appear in front of you in all glowing and then just turn into that evil witch sort of, thank you, you've given me my out, or you freed me? And
yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
You know,
get like Galadriel, and then you get like evil Galadriel.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
I can see it going two ways, right? She's a moon goddess, which comes out at night time, which is when all the shadowy creatures come out, so that's bad. But at the same time, the only light you get at night is from the moon. So she actually might be a good weapon against the shadows, because she can shine moonlight on them.
Even when it's dark, you can actually get light. Yeah.
Dude, I'm hoping for that one so much, because this links to something as well. I would love to get her blessing to create like a moon blade that sheds light, because I've just taken a shadow blade spell that I can use. So that would be dope to have like a fucking shadow and light blade and be wielding
or
like
she gives
light
you
and
luminescence,
darkness.
so you actually glow like a Saiyan.
Oh, yes.
As you say, some sort of special
cool
moonlight weapon that actually deals light or
radiant. And it counts as radiant damage.
Yeah.
Write that down, Matt. Write that down.
Yeah. While you're on your plane, mate, just make these notes. Cheers. Thanks very much.
A luminescent Aegis that deals radiant damage.
Yeah, I want an unarmed strike that deals radiant damage.
Oh no! Oh, I've got it. It's got to be a set of silver but brass knuckles for Aegis. Just pop.
It could work though, because like you could even if they gave you something like Word of Radiance. So that is a spell that within 10 feet, it's just like a bolt of radiance. You could do it with moonlight, and it could even be a strum of radiance instead. Just giving you ideas, Matt. No
oh wait, Moonblades. Oh, is that the Dusk Blade? Is he talking about the Dusk Blade?
I've got the Dusk Dagger, which is very interesting.
I think was it a campaign one weapon, a Moonblade?
I was just going to say, is that not what wasn't that the evil one?
No, that was a Bloodblade, wasn't it?
Did you have a Moonblade?
It was a Curse Blade.
No. Early in this campaign, one of you had a sword that you went and got checked by a blacksmith. You asked a blacksmith about a sword. Since I've been here,
but that was the Defender's one, wasn't it? That wasn't a Moonblade, was it?
Yeah, that was the Defender.
Okay.
Is yours called? Okay. Yours isn't the Moonblade, is it, Joel?
No, mine's
This is
the
Dusk
Defender.
No, it's the Dusk Dagger, so it works in dim light. So you kind of the
Moonblade
opposite of.
sounds like something. It's definitely something we've had before. I just don't know whether it's campaign 1, campaign 2. Or
If it's
what.
campaign 1, then we are absolutely in 100. There we go. It's campaign 1, but
Thank
that
you,
means
Matt.
we are absolutely going to Nylund to pick this shit up. From yeah, we are going there.
Yes, Moonblade.
We need to do some accidental research at at Dryad's Gate to find out that
Well, if we go
Moonblades
back to
exist,
the-
and then go on
the
a side quest to
circle-
go get it.
If we go to the fucking hell, what they called Circle, Crystalline Circle.
Crystalline Circle, yeah.
They've got a faction in Old Nylund.
There we go. So
So
they
just go
can
there
ping
and
us
ask them,
over
they'll help
there.
you.
They can ping
Yeah.
us over there. Okay, right.
that's a side quest.
I'm going to bring us back on track because we have done a roundabout. We have talked about that last episode, but only a little bit. Let's jump to we fixed this circle. We screwed. Well, we watched the elders kill Sylara. We lost Callum, and then basically we legged it out of there back to Dryad's Gate to form a plan to kidnap one of the elders. That turned out to be.
We lost trust for everyone at that point, and we had to establish whether we could trust the druids.
Yeah.
And it turns out we could trust Brom. We told him about the corruption in More Stacy.
Yeah.
And then we hatched the plan to kidnap an elder.
So we did,
Which was
and
one of our best episodes, I think.
it was a pretty good one. I mean, again, I wasn't necessarily expecting the House of Horrors, but it was still one hell of a fun encounter with mirrors and all these other
Before we got
things.
up to that bit, I really liked the fact that when we all got into disguise and we were hatching the plan and the role play of actually creating the plan.
Yeah,
'Cause
all of that was great.
I don't know whether it came across enough, but I suppose retrospectively I can lay it on a bit thicker. Lex cut his hair to form part of his disguise, so he kind of used the disguise as an excuse to cut his hair, but I suppose in his culture his hair is his thing, like how Native Americans, their hair is, or with Sikhs, their hair is quite important. With him, culturally, his hair was important, and after realising he'd been he was going to be sacrificed to the gods, and then he got saved by going into the portal to Mechanus, and he's trying to forget about that and focus on his mission. Cutting that was kind of a way to cut ties with his pre-Mechanus life. And I don't know if I played that up enough, but that was my thinking behind it.
You did, you absolutely did, and I actually remember as soon as you said that, I remember it very well.
I remember that
it was
as well.
It was very much that thing of guys in movies like shaving off their full hermit beard and stuff. It really was that turning point for Lex, and truly incredible.
It was that Zuko and Iroh moment where they fucking chop their top knots off and put it in the river and it fucking floats away and it's like we relinquished all ties. Yeah.
So it was absolutely incredible. It was a very interesting, sort of grab of Dragon. The way that we grabbed him, we were very lucky to get out. That was that drug was clutch.
I thought it was going to be so hard. But we fucked him so quickly. Also, are we allowed to poke holes in things in these recaps? Are we allowed? Is that allowed, or do we not?
No, totally. I mean, I believe so. I would also point out, from Jules' point of view and mine, I was fully expecting and I don't know why, because yes, he is an elder. He was a very powerful man. And a very paranoid man, probably because of all the shit that he's gone through. So it was a very big indication. I fully expected that we were literally going to find a window, pop through it, catch him off guard while he was walking down the hallway with a whiskey, tie him up, and scare the living bejesus out of him, and carry him out like we're doing a rug delivery service. Seriously. I mean, I'm happy to land that one on Jules' naivety, but that was also mine. I fully believed that was what was going to happen. We end up in the House of Horrors, trying to make our way through, because this guy is so... he was so scared he was going to get got. That he'd put this. However, obviously, his arrogance was his also downfall, that he chose to sit there while we fucking pounced on the dude.
Do you know what? Do you know what was my so something that made me laugh? So my little poke is while we were playing that, I was first of all, the House and Horrors and the Mirrors stuff was super creepy, super exciting. I love that we tried every fucking candelabra in that whole place, and we're like checking everything for like secret doors and all that shit. Something that made me absolutely die laughing when Matt revealed like the whole map was a thought went through my head, and I was like, where the fuck does this guy sleep in this fucking shit show of a house? I was like, where does he go for a piss in this fucking house? I was like, this is a savage house to live in.
Honestly, twofold. You're absolutely right. It is he must get really pissed off when someone rings the doorbell, and it takes him 20 minutes to disarm everything so that himself can walk to the door. So there is that. You're absolutely right. Also, I will also point out one hell of a good, for want of a better word, because we don't do it, dungeon crawl. That's kind of what that was. It was a task. It was a game to get through that. Obviously, as Matt has said, we never saw a second floor, so that's where everything else likely was. And also, I would point out. It's good fun. It's good fun to watch that stuff. Like, to get us caught, to get us trying to.
It felt like I was playing Luigi's Mansion.
Right? That was exactly the vibe I
Yeah.
got. That is exactly the vibe I got. 100%. Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
as a
do have to say,
compliment,
like, he was a very paranoid person, and that was one of the things that, like, I was completely thrown by it not being a house we could just get into, and that actually should have been a big warning to Jewel and myself that actually he was a paranoid dude and probably got a lot of shit behind him. How we jumped in that, though, was awesome.
I was going to say two things. One about the jumping thing. Also, that was when Edgius learnt his Misty Step. Well, I finally managed to Misty Step through the door. That was Edgius's Misty Step.
Here's a question for you. I've actually wanted to ask you one. Did Edgius want to learn that because he'd seen Jewel use it?
Actually, so this like reaps back all the way to like one of the first episodes we all had together, which was because I thought Callum was very much going to be like our NPC. That it was like, cool, we're keeping him for the rest of the campaign. Was like my thought early days, and I had a little sword play section with Callum during some downtime once we crossed the river at one point.
Yes.
And he misty stepped around me and was able to get a blow on me. And in my head, I was like, that is a sick trick. And actually, the whole reason, and this was like me thinking as Edgius. Edgius is so petty that actually the whole reason he learned Misty Step is so that one day he can challenge Callum to another duel and Misty Step around that bitch and strike him. That is the whole reason he wants to Misty Step.
I appreciate that.
So what's very interesting is Jewel uses it to get out of shit, get out of combat, or get out of trouble, or in combat as almost her way of being scary. Like a Black Panther, hard to see, moving at lightning speeds, and then just disappearing, and the next thing they see is her just hurtling into you, is quite the scary thing, hopefully. Not in a, like my campaign 1 character, Dargon, who was, an 8'5" Goliath behemoth. Not like that, but more of just that shock and surprise. So, yes, we absolutely did, get him. And I would say this is the perfect opportunity for us to have a quick break where we can then follow on with the recap of, as our lovely DM has put, one of the most brutal interrogations that we have ever seen in our own little versions of D&D.
The most ADHD fucking interrogation ever.
We really need to learn the art of ask a question and wait for the DM to give a response, not give him 7.
Because we all ask a question. No, but I like that though. We'll talk about it afterwards, and I'll tell you why I like it.
We will. So, guys,
go for it.
Enjoy the break. Go stretch your legs, grab yourself a drink, and we will be back as soon as we can. So, stick in there. Cheers. Hey, here we are. Welcome back, everybody.
You know, I said I'll hold that thought until after the break.
You have
I
no
lost
idea what
it.
it was. Yeah, it was the
No fucking clue.
It was the
What was
interrogation. Is
It
where
was
we're
us
coming
coming
back
at from
into.
loads of angles.
Oh, yeah. The reason I like the fact that we ask loads of questions and don't wait for the answer is because that's just the dynamic of our character. It's like, rules like, this is the certain information I need to know. Lex is just, Edge is just, if the thought comes into his head, it's coming out of his mouth. And then Lex is like, I've got my objective, and we're all trying to achieve our objectives at the same time, but not actually thinking. Which is a good learning curve. So, for example, like in battles, Edges will try something off the cuff, and Lex will be like, "We need to rehearse this before we do it because I can't do things off the cuff." Yeah. And like we rehearsed everything of the plan apart from the actual interrogation and what we were going to say. And I like that actually played out that way. We knew what we were going to do until we got to that point.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
such a great
so
point.
yeah, you're absolutely right. We honestly should have had that conversation about good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
Yeah.
A couple of things there. One, yes, it was great the fact that Jewel went in with full just emotion. That was her interrogation. Edgius was, how the fuck are you connected with this other stuff? And Klein. Lex is logical. Cavern's there, again, doing the same thing. You haven't answered our question, break a finger.
Bang.
Yeah, and it was just, but he was also so calm about the whole thing, which is great. No, all of that was really fantastic. The other thing about it was, playing all of those different things in the interrogation, like how interesting that Jewel didn't really know Sylara, and yet we're like, you're now going to get punished because I saw a nice person, not even nice person, just not a dick, get completely obliterated by you guys. You will pay. And it was very...
It's a good way to channel your PTSD about it. I'll just channel it through anger into your throat. And that's
yes, absolutely. And again, it's one of those ones of someone who's been pushed to the edge of to their limits. As I say, it's very interesting how outside of combat, I believe that Jewel has never killed anyone. So this is the first time that Jewel will ever have actually taken intentionally a life that wasn't in defense.
In self-defense.
In self-defense.
Yeah. Or a rabbit in the woods.
Totally. Again, so that thing of, I wish to end your life and I can, was very interesting turn.
I like two things about what Jewel did and then something about Tom, because you mentioned something that made me think about something, is I think with Jewel's thing, you played it really well, Dave. I think, you're, like I said, that the justice for Sylara mixed with this moment are linked beautifully in the arc of everything, because I think it also shows how naive Jewel is in a really beautiful way. It shows how rash and just just wanting to almost wielded by emotions at moments. That 20-year-old, do you know what I mean? Like that young person, oh my God, suddenly emotions just take over, and the logic doesn't even sink through. So I thought you did really, really great with that. And then the Tom thing that you mentioned is, I've watched a lot of D&D streams, and I've watched a lot of people play barbarians. We've seen, the classic Grog from Critical Role, who is like, rah, you've seen, there's a myriad of great examples, but there's typically it comes round some sort of anger or, things like that. I think what I love, and I realized this just as you said this a second ago, Dave, I love the way Tom plays Cavan, because it's a quiet anger, and that is almost more scary of look, dude, I'm not here to fuck around. I'm just gonna hurt you. And it's because I'm angry right now and you're pissing me off. But this is a calm anger. This is an anger that you should be actually, I'm not acting irrationally. I'm angry and I'm acting the most rationally I have all day. I've been putting on a mask and doing things that are against my nature all day. This is me now being fully instinctual and doing it the way that I believe it's
the opposite of your standard barbarian. He is panicking all day because he doesn't know what to do, and then suddenly shit gets real and it's total peace and quiet up there, and he's suddenly I got this.
Yeah.
It's almost the calm. It's the opposite.
Like he's mad about they've got the wrong ham for his sandwich.
Yeah.
But then when it's an actual life or death situation, he is absolutely calm, cool as a cucumber.
I want to very liken it to like Liam Neeson in Taken, where he's like, you know, when he's torturing that guy and he basically stabs the things into his legs and goes, "So let's have a chat," you know, because that is more scary because it is, you know, that they are so calm about the whole thing. Really intense and very well played by Tom. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Coming back, we all went in with totally different angles on that interrogation. It was very much amateur, you know, and I think that absolutely played out the right way.
Before.
Exactly, that's the point of you know, we need to have planned and gone, right, one at a time. We need to go and try and interrogate him. Hopefully you'll get it out of him. If you don't, the next person goes in. No, we would just, you know, foaming at the mouth. We'll try and get this information. It did and didn't go our way, and that was absolutely the right thing to have happened. We gained some incredible information, and we screwed ourselves over in a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
To recap the episode, we then ended up having a, for want of a better word, a conversation with a greater power who was controlling
VS maybe.
Well,
it's the Shrouded Lord.
What he ended up divulging to us is M is just a pawn, Klein is just a pawn, VS is just a pawn, the Elders are pawns,
and
in the greatest theme of everything.
Yeah, and we are a thorn in their side. We have inadvertently actually been a actual nuisance, and that's actually good news to hear. You know, something that we need to actually go, no, we have actually therefore pressed the right buttons.
And something that I had forgotten he had said until I was making notes for this recap episode is the Shrouded Lords, one of his parting words were that we will see Klein very soon. So either we're on the right track and we're going to cross paths, or he's actively coming for
chasing us down, yeah. In which case, Bodhi, do please remember to scry on him next episode.
just gone, just one and done, isn't it?
Oh, is it one and done?
It's one and done. Yeah, it's one and done. It was a scroll. But do you know what? Actually, you saying that of him, like something that I realized, because between us finding this information, us getting to Jules' village, which is a little jump. Edgius makes those weights for himself and starts wearing these weights and is going to start, and you know, like I said, I'm going to try and start developing this new type of combat where he's doing close quarters magic as well as sword play and getting in there a bit more. I think I realized tonight while we've been talking what Edgius's super objective actually now is. Like his super objective for life is to die, just because he's like, he just wants to fucking move on from all this. But I think the thing that I realized Edgius is training for is actually to kill Klein again. Okay, I think like I realized today that he's like, it took me a year last time and I didn't even succeed. Like I need to like start now. And it needs to now be like, all I do from this moment forward is in preparation for the moment I stand in front of him. I'm ready to fucking swing swords and you know, put my fucking, you know, put the whatever where your mouth is saying, put your money where your mouth is, there we go, and actually show up in the moment. So I think that's where I'm heading with the training stuff that I'm going down the route of now.
So do you know what? That'll be
Blue Eye Samurai now, and it is fucking sensational.
So this will be an interesting one that I actually want to. I basically don't want the answer to this, Bodhi. I'm curious, therefore, how you fought Klein last time, and is Edgius just going to be a better fighter in that same realm, or are you going down such a different route that it's going to catch Klein off guard that that what you've done is essentially retrain so that he hasn't got a clue? I just basically look forward to that outcome. As I say, I don't want to know it now, and I'm just really keen to find out whether that what's that is. in a similar view, and I've constantly been doing this for Duel, is... So I actually made Duel, I've spoken about this before, I tried to make Duel as good outside of combat, not so good in combat. I'm still on that path. I'm keen with our recent level up to try and keep that going. But again, we understand we're playing a rule set that is not heavily, but certainly has a large segment that is fighting. So it's very interesting trying to find that middle ground as to, again, who Duel is. Because I don't just want it to be a bloodthirsty assassin rogue. It's absolutely not who she is. And yeah, it's very interesting finding that way of keeping it interesting inside the RP with her special skills.
You've done that in certain battles though, where rather than dealing damage, you've just become a nuisance to the enemy, which gives us an advantage. So, for example, stealing their weapons, or if there's an item we need to get and somebody's in the way, going and getting it, that sort of stuff. Like Lex can control the battlefield with some of his. He can change the initiative order. He can do some other stuff to help you guys out, so he can help the party.
Let's be fair, you're basically just Vision out of the Marvel series. Just like, poof, I'm a nuisance, and we're just like, hello.
Well, I can do the lightning bolt stuff, but there's some spells that I haven't got a chance to use yet. Like, I can change the initiative order if it helps. So if Edges ends up at the bottom of the round, I can make it in the top of the round and get advantage, so he gets 2 goes in a row. I can also do it the opposite way with the enemy and put them bottom of the round and give them disadvantage. But the order hasn't quite worked out for that yet. I've also got a spell I haven't used yet, which is essentially if somebody throws a projectile at you, whether it's a bow and arrow, a knife, or anything, I can stop the projectile mid-air and deflect it towards somebody else by stopping time.
Oh, that's dope.
But nobody's ever chucked a projectile at us yet, so I haven't got to use it. But you can use your powers in that way to create havoc.
I'm throwing something at Lex next episode, so you can use that.
I'm going to Neo it. Just be like...
Absorb it into your hand, to put the other one out, and shoot it out the other one back at me.
Amazing.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
Do you know what?
But that's what you can do. You can create havoc in different ways.
Which is, again, what I've tried to do. I played a very much fighter, class. Last time, he was a beefy bloke. He was going to be hitting. He was going to be dead center. It was end of. And also that few times it was like, okay, just moved him into the most dangerous areas. I so cannot do that with Duel, and there'll be a number of times I'm like, cool, completely missed, that's my round over. Whereas if I'm, as you say, I need to be that fly, that annoying, I've got your weapon, get it back.
Because you don't want to get hit, but you can do the equivalent of tying people's shoelaces together so they fall over
and run away.
You can rub sand in their eyes to make them blind for a round. Stupid stuff like that.
So
totally.
Poke them in the eye and run off.
I love the idea of, because Edgius at the moment in downtime is taking these moments to train. I love the idea that, like you said, Jules at the moment isn't thinking about that type of stuff. Lex, maybe isn't there. I love the idea that as this campaign goes on, when these training moments happen, that slowly as a group, we all start actually being like, it's time to train. And it's like, all of us end up being, Jules is practicing Misty Step, Lex is shooting off different spells, practicing, Edgius is working with his sword, you have fucking Cavern grappling a tree branch or some shit.
What Jewel has done, again, this is a recap, so I'm trying to catch everyone up. She has bought a particular sort of weapon, for want of a better word, that will trip up an enemy. And again, in the hopes of, and it's one of those annoying things that it's unfortunate for range casting, or range spells and weapons, but to trip an enemy up to stop its movement, even if it's going to be a whole action for them to get this thing off them, I think it's called a bolus, is going to, as you say, in that line of be a fucking nuisance on the battlefield, because that is, in a nice way, all she's good for. And that's why
it's the sort of thing... Sorry. I was just going to say, but it's the sort of thing, because what we got by the end of campaign 1, we knew if the person before me did this certain move, I could do this certain move, which would complement that, and then set up the next person for their next move. So, for example, if Cavan and Edgius are both in close, if you knock somebody prone, you know for what they're going to.
You've got advantage. Whereas if you're next, then don't do that, because then you're going to have disadvantage on your hit. So that's the kind of stuff that will be useful. But that's why I've therefore gone right. I've bought a tool that will be useful in combat. I'm not going to therefore try and suddenly give myself a feat of fighter initiative or something that is fighting. No, I'm going to try and give myself something that's going to mean that outside of combat, duel is more useful.
Telekinesis, baby. First step into magic. Let's do it.
No, again, great idea. She will never do it because she absolutely detests magic. She accepts it for being around, but she's never going to do that. She's not going to become a warlock. She's not going to get the lucky feat. You know, one that I joked about was Keen Mind, but again, I'm so bad at keeping notes that I can't do that on Matt or myself. Like, that's just not going to work. And I've had Jewel make notes and draw. Fine. I can't do it I remember everything I've ever read.
Yeah. Do you know what, as well? I feel like as the two casters at the moment, Lex and Edgius, you know, when I did that misty step land and try and flip and you catch me and you beautifully stepped out of the way and let me land on the ground. I think I realized during this conversation as well that Edgius is Jazz. He's very much on the fly, I'm coming up with this, I'm going, Lex is very much, and I love the idea that at some point, we have been together long enough and we work together long enough that we start finding, like you said, those combinations of being let's do this together. Like you said, just the variety of if we combine our spells mixed with, again, the movement and speed stuff that I have in terms of getting in and out of combat. I think together we have a lot of potential. I like that we come from opposite ends of the spectrum of jazz versus, what would be maybe math rock, or something like that, Yeah,
because
so I think that's a very nice contrast.
We could combine for one powerful attack.
Yeah.
Even if it's I channel my lightning bolt through your sword or something stupid like that.
Yeah. I love it.
I'll use acid splash, but I'll put it on your sword, so then you've got a poisonous sword.
Yeah.
Things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Genius. Yeah. That's the type of shit we need to be doing for sure. Although
you did give away the fucking ring of spell holding or whatever it is as a down payment on something, and I could put so many spells in that. I could put Dragon's Breath in it. I could put Warp Sense in it. I could give you so many powers, and Cavan could just have a ring.
Was honestly the only person in our campaign, in our group, and probably in most campaigns, to ever go, I do not see the value in an incredible ring of spell storing.
How much did she say it was worth? Do we remember what the number was?
2,000, gold or something. It's ridiculous. Just absolutely. Oh yeah. So no, and again, that type of stuff where maybe actually, if Jewel can help in your simultaneous attack, in using the bolus and grappling them, and also literally physically grabbing hold of them. In the knowledge that then you two can are next in line in that order. Absolutely incredible.
One question we haven't answered or thought about much is when we met the Shrouded Lord and we come face to face with him, we had a bit of a conversation about why he might need portals, but why do you think he needs so many shadow plane portals? Does he draw power from them the same as VS is, or does he just need to open them to actually just enter our world? Or he's not bothered about coming to our world, he just wants them to send forth his minions into our plane?
We don't know, and that's the great thing is we really don't know. We're a few episodes away from knowing that he even exists. So now it's again that thing of we need to know. I'll be honest, guys. I don't think we're ready to go through a portal. I think we need to close that portal in our latest episode. But it's very interesting how we may end up again outside our comfort zone in a alternative plane that we don't necessarily.
I wish I could send my fucking cat through a different plane of existence. He's been an absolute prick. I want to be either side of the door thing at all times.
Absolutely, I've got a cat sitting right here wanting to do exactly the same thing.
At least yours just sits in front of you. Mine is actively trying to derail my life.
Only because she tried to claw in through the door, so this is the only reason. And basically, giving her fuss means she shuts up and doesn't say anything. Yeah, I'm very interested to know what we need to do and whether we know. Again, jumping back because it kind of relates to what we were doing. Very shortly after that, we then all got dreams, and Cavan and Jewel looked into the possibility of those dreams actually being a thing. And what I mean by that is, could very well either be our path to more information, or even our path to fighting our enemy. I'll be honest here. As Dave, I don't see the relevant connection between the dreams and the shadows per se, apart from the fact that we have seen, or in the backstory of why Jewel left, was people had nightmares or night terrors, and there were shadows around. So maybe they're connected. I'll be honest, I don't think it's necessarily where we are actually going to go and fight our enemy, but I think it will be where we can glean some very useful insights. I think
where it'll be useful is either to protect us if we get attacked in our dreams again, or we try and attack them in their dreams. So, for example, if we can't scry on Klein, we might be able to dip into his dreams.
It's almost like it's our version of astral projection. We are going to actually attempt to not go anywhere, but still attack them. Whether or not, I don't know. I really can't tell you.
It could be. So, for example, instead of interrogating somebody and kidnapping them, if we find an enemy that we want to interrogate, we could do it in their dreams.
Oh, that's genius. That's fucking genius.
We can full on Inception this shit.
Fucking genius, dude.
We could slip them some tea. So instead of Dragon with all the trying to capture him, we could have slipped him something in his tea and then joined his dream at night and interrogated him without him ever knowing anything, and then he wakes up going, "Oh, that was a weird dream," and he doesn't even know that he's told us anything because we give him the red mushroom and he forgets that he ever had it.
Oh, mate, that's actually a fucking sick idea. You know, I'm gonna spike Mayanora's dumbass next time we fucking sleep anywhere near her, and I'm gonna go into that bitch's dreams.
So that was really interesting. We obviously we met Mayanora, and it seems that we were wrong. She's on our side. She definitely isn't squeaky clean. But the enemy of my enemy, almost. But again, I think she's repenting for her sins. I personally have that feeling. Again, whether it's a double bluff, don't think so. I honestly think it is. She was sucked in by the magic that has very much corrupted her, and she, for once, had the willpower to go, "Oh fuck." Now I totally get where Edgius was coming from. Yeah. Totally get where Edgius was coming from.
To be mutated.
Yeah, Edgius was totally right. Like, you're so shallow that it's only when it affected you did you care. You are 100% correct. It is also, however, how you gain allies and how you get people back. So it is, you're shallow. Now
that's how redemption arcs start. That's how redemption starts, though, isn't it?
So it is. You've come back to the light for the wrong reason, but we'll accept you anyway. That's how I think that Jewel probably sees it.
Yeah, I think Edgius stands on the side of just like there's a just deep mistrust for not mistrust. I think it's like if you could hurt so many people, it feels like you could do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like if you could do what you've done, then like nothing's off the table. But like that's why part of what I was doing with Edgius about her coming along with us was possibly to give Matt an ability to give her a redemption, because I do like the idea, and I have a theory. I do have a theory. I'll throw a conspiracy out there. I think that our special guest in the future might play Mayanora during our upcoming episode, and I have a strange inkling that they might play Mayanora, and possibly then at the end of the episode she might die. Was what I was thinking. I was like, we're gonna close this portal, and somehow Mayanora's gonna die, and we're not gonna be able to garner any more information from her, or the other option is she does just end up coming with us, and of that it's like, cool, when we see a portal, you're our new third spellcaster that we need to fucking close this thing. And guess what? You're gonna do some good because you fucked it last time. Like, your decision making last time was terrible, so now you're stuck with the good guys.
Do you know what would be fucking awesome, actually? When Fletch from the Eldritch Press joins us next week, because how the episode ended, the shadow plane portal in the well, loads of wraiths started coming out of it, things started pouring out of the portal and attacking the village. What about if he's one of the bad guys? He plays one of the, and we're fighting
some PvP.
Oh,
God, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Oh, even better if it's one of the corrupted ones. Like, he's been corrupted. He was again similar. He was okay. He's been corrupted, and it's again, we have to either bring him back or run him through.
Matt, does he have a character? Have you already come up with a character, Matt? Get in the comments, Matt, and tell us. Has he come up with a character already or not?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, all of this is so much fun. I will continue to love not knowing where this goes. And I know that Matt is 7 steps ahead of us because he wants and needs to be. I also know that he is only loosely 7 steps ahead of us because we are painting it as we go. So I harp on about it all the time, the way that, this is why I love homebrews. If you are following this pretext, this pre-made story, then you might find that you have to crowbar your players into something they're actually not interested in doing. Whereas, I say, we could, and have very real consequences. We could decide that we're just going to go to a different area of the world, and then when we come back to Dryad's Gate and its surrounding areas, it's utterly and completely corrupted because we decided not to stay.
We could go down. We could just go choose. In the Shadow Plane portal next week. We could dive into the well, get a TPK. Game over.
Yeah. We could also suddenly decide that we're going to go back to Thalyssa, and we could all get just thrown in the stockade. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are all legitimate things that would be things that Matt has to deal with, but they're going to have real consequences.
So let me ask you guys this. So obviously we have these dreams. We wake up. We do some trippy shopping. Where I get my weights to do my training stuff, and we sell some armor. You guys get the rings and stuff. We make our way to Jules' village. Then we pretty much have talked about almost everything that happened past that point in little drips and drabs. But we fought some scary statues. We met Jules' parents and Mayanora. We found out Mayanora wasn't as bad. We had conversation, and then we're going to deal with this portal that is suddenly kicking up. Smoke and creatures and stuff is coming out of it. Let me ask you guys this question, okay? Because I'm interested where your guys' heads are at and see if we're on the same page. What do you guys see as, like, cool? Once we solve this portal, and now, like, let's throw out the possibility that we go into, like, another, another plane, which would put us on a whole other arc.
So we close the portal. Basically, we're saying, as an example. As an idea, we close the portal. Yeah?
Yeah. Then where do you guys, for Lex and Jewel, where do you see the next step is? And then also for Dave and Danny, what do you guys see? Are we going to the Crystalline Isles to try and find the caves that we think Klein and those guys hung out with? Are we going to the east to try and, gain some, people that could, help us try and find out more information? Are we going portal hunting? Are we going after Callum? What's your guys' kind of thoughts? I'm super interested.
I think for me, the most powerful allies that are still confirmed as being allies are the wizards on the Crystalline Isle.
Yeah.
And they helped us by telling us to Jules' mum, which led to us finding out Mayanora wasn't M. There's the triangle of bad guys where you got VS, Klein, who's the third one. I don't know, is it Lord, is it somebody else? So I think they might be able to help us figure out where to go on our trajectory or how to get powerful enough to defeat Klein. Because I think we're on a collision course with Klein. It's just we need to probably prepare for that and get powerful enough for that. But also let them know there's a cave system under their island they don't know about, and they need to shut that shit down. And if they do know about it, why haven't we done anything about it?
Danny, I think I agree with pretty much everything you just said. I think there's one thing before that will be, it was a very tense conversation with Jules' parents and with Mayanora. I think there's one additional conversation to have with them to basically glean if there's any more information, basically that question of, okay, great, now what aren't you telling us? Just glean anything, because that may suddenly span us in another direction. However, if nothing else changes, I think you're right. Back to the Crystalline Isle. One, we've got to remember, we kind of are on the mission for them, and we want to know more about Mayanora. We found her. There we go, done. One tick down, let's go back, tell them, give them this information, even maybe take Mayanora if she's willing, and say, hey, she's on her redemption arc. You do that, right? And then once we've done that, is go, agree with you. Let's tell them about the cave system, and one, either just go deal with it, or two, go, you're going to send us down there, aren't you? And go, because for want of a better word, we are disposable.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you guys considered, I'm not sure if you've thought about this, but it's something that popped into my head. At this point, we know where the murderer who committed the crime in Thaylisser, we know who they work for. We don't know specifically who it is, but we now have Mayanora, we have you guys, we have all this information. Have you guys considered us going back to Thaylisser, clearing your guys' names, as well as also, because you said Artemisia was killed, who was the lady who had the big portal-finding fucking machine, right? Is there any spec to the question of, if we go back to Thaylisser, we alleviate you guys from whatever problem you may have there, and then we go and use her portal fucking finding machine, and then go start tracking some shit down that way? Like,
it's not necessarily a portal finding machine. She was using it to help understand the multiverse, so it might help us. But also, she was a member of the Circline Isle, so all of her research is at the Circline Isle as well.
So,
okay.
No, not all of it is. Some of it is purely done in Thaylisser. Now, I think you're right. I think maybe there is a point of, can we clear our name in Thaylisser? Because you are correct. We may. This is great. I wonder whether we need to take command of both machines and set them up to not interfere with each other, but work with each other. And
also, another reason to go back to Thaylisser, right? Where people were disappearing, your village, there's a portal. People were disappearing in Thaylisser, which probably means there's a portal there too.
Yeah.
So our next trajectory could be where, if we look at where we know portals have happened, and Mayanora said she was also following Klein, which is why she happened to be where the portals were. They weren't following her, she was following them. So if she knows of any other places where portals have been, we can do a bit of pretend maths to say, right, there's been one here, and one here. We could predict there will also be a portal here and here, and that's where we go to close those portals, which will then bring us closer to Klein, and we take on Mayanora's mission of following the portals to find them.
I wonder whether there is a portal under the temple, and in use of that second machine, it was to fuck with the portal under there, and every time it got switched on, it fucked over Artemisia's machine. So that's why why they even had one there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So currently, I'm looking at the map of Aeneth, our wonderful world that our Dungeon Master made. I'm looking at the map at the moment. So if we go from Stonebark and we head back through
Right.
Down. We catch a ship all the way down to the Crystalline Isles. We do that.
Yep.
Then from the Crystalline Isle, we continue on to Thalisser. So we get our information, we deal with the tunnels, we get our information from the Crystalline Isle, we continue to Thalisser, we fucking free you guys of your shit. We bring all that information there, we use the machine that they have to somehow help us with the portal planar problem. And then we start making our way north to the Kingdom of Nylon and start working towards the east.
Towards a Moonblade.
Well, towards whether it's a Moonblade or whether it's, I know we spoke about seeing how far this reach is, because we talked about, we know in the west that whatever this dark entity has gotten over, we didn't know whether in the east if we could then possibly assume that it's so far out of their reach that we could possibly garner some people that could help us out, come back to the west and solve some problems or some shit.
I want to go to Nylon just because it's campaign 1.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this is right.
In Nylon, there is gateways to the Feywild, to the Isle of Death.
That's how we get Cal.
To the Isle of Death. That's how campaign 1 ended.
Yeah.
There's a bad portal that we closed and never opened. There's a Feywild one, and there's another one I can't remember now. A Celestial Plane.
And the one and also the one in Greenflower. Did we ever close that one? Was
that? Oh, yeah. So to be fair, there is portals everywhere. So in theory, we could just, our mission or our next arc is we're literally just going portal to portal trying to close them, and that'll in theory develop the plot by itself, won't it?
Kind
so
of
the
like
Crystalline Isle will say we know where there's portals, and getting Callum's dad back. And Callum is important because he knows where portals are.
Which is why, if we ever find out in game that Greenflower is important to Callum's father, that's why we'll end up there.
Yep.
So we're thinking Crystalline Isle, Thalisser, and then head up north in the east and start closing portals in the east.
Yep.
I think that's fair. Do you know what we need? Do you know what is a piece of information
there
that
is
we need?
There is a portal
finally?
in Lex's hometown, but
where's
I don't
that?
think way to the west. So I don't think story-wise it makes sense to go on a childhood quest. Lex's backstory quest
to Kedemir or something, or Hillingdon.
I live. It's I can't remember what it's fucking called now, and it's my place where I live.
Arnvale?
Begins with S.
S. Begins with S.
Fucking
in
hell.
the west? Wait. No, it's not Mount Floromia on Dragon's Moor.
It's the jungles. It's bugging me now. I'm bringing up the law document.
I
live
do you
in
know what?
Sibyllaire.
Oh, okay.
Sibyllaire. It's a UNT
Sibyllaire.
settlement near the jungles.
Matt, where the fuck is that on the map? Help us out, GM. God damn it.
So in theory, there's a portal there because that's where I got into Mechanus. But story-wise, it doesn't make sense to go back there yet because it's not a dangerous portal because it goes back to Mechanus. So if we just try and identify where there's dangerous portals and close them, that'll make sense, right?
I mean, I would speculate, I'm about, to me, the two plots that make the most sense to me at the moment are, we need to, closing the portals is causing problems, right, for the bad guys, and being, like Dave said, being a thorn in their side is a good thing. So I think that's a good one. And then I think the other main portal is chasing, actually trying to shut down their operation. So kill their capos, kill their generals, fucking imprison people if we can, that kind of stuff feels like that's, and along that journey, that means going to the Crystalline Isles and dealing with those caves. It means freeing yourselves of that. And I think either we go portal hunting or we chase the bad guys. And I think we should fucking run
at the minute
for one of the two.
They're both the same thing because Mayanora was trying to find them by following the portals. So following the portals will help us find them and their minions. So I think there'll be some minions in the cave that we need to deal with. But I think if we're following portals, we'll be following them and their operation at the same time.
I put money right now. I will put a pint when I fucking see you guys in person right now that when we get to the Crystalline Isle, that we are fucking gonna have to deal with Klein for the first time, and he's gonna somehow like fuck us up. We're all gonna be absolutely like I'm gonna be in bits. My skeleton's gonna be everywhere. We're all gonna be fucked up, and then I reckon he's gonna circle back around at a later point. You know, he's gonna do the old "ha ha, you're so weak," poof, and then like fuck off somewhere else.
Sort of back down. You're not strong enough for this fight. You know, get our asses handed to us. Yeah, that's very interesting. No, I mean, that is a very good point. I think that's very right. I was going to say something else, and I totally forgot what I was going to say there. It was on your previous point. If it comes back around to me, I'll let you know.
What,
following the portals is the same as following them.
That's it, right? So, it's very much the Captain America, the first movie, destroying all the factories, basically just getting on their nerves. That's very much what I want to do. Is just become a big enough thorn in their side that they actually go, enough's enough. You're now a big enough problem to us. That's exactly what I want to do, because I think, until then, we are not strong enough to go up against them. We don't know enough. And every single time, we just need to basically just be that pain in the arse.
I'll throw another spanner in the works, guys, with another strategy of how we could attack this. Instead of portal hunting and being a problem in their side, or instead of, obviously do the Crystalline Island Thalos, or instead of, doing this portal hopping thing, what if we could also just try and infiltrate the entire organization by going, it sounds like it would be hard based on the fact of it feels like we constantly have eyes watching us, as Matt fucking constantly reminds us that we're feeling like we have eyes on us at all times. I feel like it would probably be hard, but there's also a chance that if we started infiltrating, getting information, working our way up, almost, similar to a Kill Bill kind of style thing of you lead me to the next person, and then I'm working my way up till I can get to them, get information from them, and work our way, start with grunts, and then go up to the capos, then the generals, then the inner family, and then the triad, is what sits at the absolute top.
Here's an idea then, Bodhi. Where do we also think, I have my opinions, where do we also think that the Serpent's Cloak resides with our enemy?
Because that all happened before Bodhi joined us, right?
So Serpent's Cloak, that your underground, triad, nefarious information group, who will also happily just kill someone because they haven't paid their dues. They're mafia, a worldwide chain of mafias. Jewel had a connection to them, completely balls that up, is wanted by the Serpent's Cloak. I think I would put them in they have been corrupted. They're weirdly they don't work by the law, but they have their own law. So I think that actually they could end up being... Yes, but I feel that they could be corrupted by the Shrouded Lord unintentionally, and they don't like that. Now, I think that would be a really interesting one, that we actually need to go, look, we didn't meet on the best of terms, but you've actually got some cancerous sections that need to be cut away, and we're going to help you. And and it is truly enemy is our enemy. Now, the reason I say that, but also we've also got another shadow group. Danny, if you can remember what they're called.
Yes, they are called organisations. The Ancient and Silent Order of Sitharis.
Are not
of syphilis. Wait,
syphilis?
What?
Yeah.
Matt, come on now. When you came up with that name, you didn't hear that one as you were saying it, my guy? God damn, Matt.
But the Secret Order, they're not exactly opposed to the to the Serpent's Cloak, but they're definitely not on their side, if that makes sense. By no means are they.
Lives.
That's the point. They're no means the opposite, but they are certainly not on the side of the Serpent's Cloak. So we need to get back in touch with them. For one,
where do they exist? Where do they chill?
Everywhere. Is when we were there.
But we met
It was
them in
in groups,
groups.
wasn't it?
But they I believe are literally just everywhere. I think we need to find out how much the crystalline circle know about them. I think we already may have asked that, so we may not.
Right.
But this is the type of stuff that we need to start getting at. I wonder whether, again, that type of idea that we had with Callum and his pseudo dad, we need to start getting the. We need to be as much of a thorn in their side, because not only are we going to try and find portals, we're sending out miniature, semi-professional groups to actually go, you need to fix these, you need to fix these, while we are chasing leads.
And also, the Serpent's Cloak or the Ancient and Silent Order of Sithris might know who those grunt workers are, who the henchmen are.
Yeah.
To
Now,
then
I think it's
interrogate
unlikely
and
that
get
we'll be able
information
to.
from.
I think it's unlikely that we'll be able to get in with them and weasel our way in, because the boss knows us.
But we can do
Or
it
we can
Punisher
break some
style.
fingers.
But I think we can do it Punisher style, where it's
Dude,
we find
I was thinking Punisher too. Yes.
where we find them
Oh.
and we just take them out until they give us the answer, and we, as you say, that way we kill Bill it all the way up to the top.
It's a super interesting. So, okay. Also, I mean, I'm sure Matt will fucking tell us at some point. But are we gonna sail? Are we gonna hire a ship and become pirates? Like, not pirates. That's not.
We
That's not the
we
point.
have had an airship crew previously.
We have had an airship group, and I wonder whether we can get them back. That would be great. Now, what was also interesting is, Edgius, you talking about the path from Stonebark. Apart from going to the Crystalline Isle, going from Stonebark to Thalissa is exactly the trip that Jultag took. And I feel that is kind of funky, like kind of cool. Going, yeah, we're actually going to go down the same route, and it's actually going to bring us full circle. But I want to do it in much of a way where we can actually clear our name in Thalissa, and I don't think we can do that yet.
Dude, that would be. Dude, I would love. Dude, I would love. Right. Let's do some. You know, some quick maths here. Do we reckon between now and by the time we get to the coast, we can accrue enough funds to purchase our own airship?
I don't.
Well,
think
I got 7,000 for selling that armor or something stupid, didn't I?
I was gonna say, let's sell let's sell that ring that you guys have. I thought it
sell
was
the
like
ring of story.
20k. I thought it was like I didn't realize it was 2. I thought it was like 20.
No, I think it
20,000
was
gold.
ridiculous amounts.
It was
yeah.
ridiculous. It was astronomical,
Yeah.
if I remember. So,
Or was it like 2,000 platinum or something?
again,
They're
what? Even if it was 2,000 gold, it's decent. What we've got to then remember is we actually need to get paid by the Crystalline Isles, by the cycle. Sorry, for the information that we're going to provide them. We want
They say
them.
they pay us.
Yeah, we're on their payroll. We're on their mission.
They haven't paid
They can
for
pay us
shit.
in-
No,
They can pay us in
no.
magic items.
They did actually
Magic
give us
items.
some. They did actually give us a few coins. We need to get more out of them, and we need to use them as, even if it's not coins, we need to get information, we need to get items, and we need to find out if they have got their own corruption under the isle in the caves. You know, and we need to get as much of that. We may. I say this. I was going to say maybe we should just go down the route of just trying to pillage someone. But I don't think our group is like that. I think we are just the right side of the law. We're trying to uphold the law, really. Kind of.
I'd speculate
A couple
whether
of
it's law
stabbing.
or it's universal law. I think is what we're. It's
We
less
are not
specifically the laws of
following the
land.
law of the land of the current place. After all, we have
Universal
openly told
order.
Brom we just slaughtered someone. But
We are
Universal
essentially
order.
karma. That's what we are. We are karma.
yeah, we don't
We
need
are
a new
God's
name.
left
We
hand.
don't.
But
no,
if we do go to Thalissa, it's not just going to be clearing our name. It's also going to be rescuing the magistrate who's on the run. Because we've got to send in the stone to him, so we could talk to him.
Oh, he's
as
dead.
well,
we
which
have
might
so
lead us
forgotten
back
about
to-
him. He's so dead.
It also clears Mayanora as well. It definitely
Yeah.
clears Mayanora because she was her assistant and her thing. So Mayanora can actually, if she wants to go and have
She's
an
an
actual
eyewitness.
job in a life, You know, she can.
She's an eyewitness.
You know, yeah,
We-
and she validates. We have to bring her because she is the only evidence that we have of what we're like. We could be talking absolute shit without her. We literally could be spouting absolute horseshit. So I think she is our backup.
Can we find a way of using the I can't remember what her name is, the Enchantress. Use the Enchantress and some extra spells from the Crystalline Circle to extract the dream or vision that Jewel had of Artemisia's death, proving her innocence, that is a physical representation that she can then provide to the authorities, the right people in Thalissa, to then go, we were framed, this is who you're looking for, and we're tracking him down. And
Would they trust that, though?
And get immunity. That's why we need the power from the Crystalline Circle to prove that this magic is correct and true. And it will be that we need to find the person who is corrupt, because, so here's the other point, that won't work necessarily because there's someone clearly corrupt in Thalissa, because the guards were there before anyone called the alarm. So we need to find out how. And there's probably a portal
there as well.
And that. So we need to find out who in Thalissa is complicit with that lot.
So, true to ourselves, should we just fucking go gung-ho into Thalissa without a plan and just fucking tear shit up?
No, I think we would end up in the stockade more quicker than you can say, oops.
I think we go to the Crystalline Isles, we deal with what's under there, we tell them about what's under, we talk to them about everything. Then I think from there we go to Thalissa, we clear your guy's name, we move on with our lives. And then at that point we decide, cool, are we portal hunting or are we tracking down generals and grunts and that kind of shit? And then we choose a path and we just start fucking, and everything that we then do is like, cool, super objective. Are we finding a portal? Is it getting us closer to a portal, or is it getting us closer to our next person that's going to give us information?
That's going to be a tough one for Lex, because Lex will be thinking, I'm here to sort out portal disturbances. Tracking the portals is the obvious ploy, but then there's also the argument of, but the root cause of the portal is the portals is the people. So do you do the symptom or the cause? Do you know what I mean? Do you do the painkiller, or do you do the medicine or the vaccine? Which one do you do?
Well, that'll be a great one to RP, because as I say, as I've mentioned, I think it's we become a thorn in their side so that they come to us. But you're absolutely right. We can also have the other idea of the Kill Bill strategy of finding all these people and getting in. I will put another note, is to get into Thalissa, we need to use the Secret Order and get them to find out who is corrupt in Thalissa. We need to do another midnight takedown of that person, and then we're cleared of our name.
Yeah. If we can find a mechanism to track portals easier than me using warp sense, which is only a 30-foot radius, it makes more sense, and it'll be easier to track the portals, and the people will come with it. But if we can't think of a way to track portals, the people will lead us to portals.
Callum's dad. It's Callum's dad.
I mean, Callum's dad.
It is Callum's dad, but let's put this out there. This is going to be a great one, and I don't know whether this will ever be a possible thing. Danny. Imagine Lex combining his magic with the Archmage, whatever his name is. He is essentially Xavier with Cerebro, being able to connect to everything.
He's not saying that yet.
What if you basically just superimposed your ability to find
ask him
portals?
To amplify my warp sense, and then I can mark on the map
for one moment you knew where every single portal was. For one, they could change, they could move, they could disappear, more could grow, but for that one very moment, you get to realise. Now, it may knock you out for a week. Do you know what I mean? Again, real consequences here. But can you imagine if we were able to go, well, now we have some information?
I mean,
that's a fucking great idea.
Even if we can have one big blast where we get the closest portals, in a quick couple of seconds, we scribble down what we can. Then if he teaches me how to act as a conduit for Lex's warp sense, I can channel my, if I can then do a minor version of that, and then we could do a couple mile radius instead of it being 30 feet. which I think it is. We could do like I'm a battery for you as we move around, and you could then do like wider ones as well.
Okay, I've got it. We also go to the Crystalline Isle. We show them how we found how we fixed the corrupt portal. So with all those ingredients, with the obsidian stone, and we say, right, you nerds, find out how this can become a 1 mile detection beacon. So
rather than a key to shut it, because I've got Dragon's necklace, which is obsidian as well, so I could be wearing that.
It's basically right. So as you say, like you have your ability, they can study your ability to find it, and you use this also integral part, this obsidian, to go right, make something that you have to cast a spell into it or something, but that will then ping you a much bigger area, a mile radius instead of a 30-foot radius.
I've also just gone a bit more left field, right? You know, when we were talking last episode, and we've had it confirmed on the research we've done on the multiverse, the astral plane is at the centre of everything, and it acts as
it's the
a
soup
corridor
in between all of our planes.
Yep, so it acts as essentially that corridor full of doors.
Yep.
To get to wherever you want to go. You have a link to the astral plane, and we have a necklace that opens a portal to the astral plane.
Yeah, we do.
Why don't we just try and figure out how we can just go into the astral plane and go, oh look, there's a portal. Where's that go? Oh, we're in Thalissa. Oh, there's a portal there. Where's that go? Oh,
maybe it's not even. It sees the portal, but it almost sees the Stargate wormhole of just connecting through, and you go, oh, there's one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
so we could use the astral plane necklace.
About that?
Go on.
What's scary about that is fucking. Because we're in that theory, Danny, you're thinking that those doors all lead to the astral plane, but we already know that they don't. Those doors on this side, they don't lead to the astral plane. They lead to the fucking...
What I think Danny's saying is, if you go into the astral plane, which is the soup in between, you see basically a pipe from that plane to that plane, and go. You almost see the hallway from the outside.
So we'd be in the astral plane going, oh look, there's the Crystalline Isle. Oh look, there's Thalissa, and I could either shut them from inside the astral plane, or we just use it as a way to transverse the world and get places quicker.
Here's then the mindfuck. We find one that it doesn't connect to any of those planes, but it connects to another plane in another multiverse, which is exactly what we know that Artemisia was looking at.
Yeah.
So we find a portal that doesn't go anywhere we know.
So option one is keep Matt's world intact, go to Crystalline Isles and Thalissa, do all that shit. Option two is we entirely break everything Matt has ever created. We go outside into the astral plane and we start a space pirate campaign where we travel from portal to portal, shutting it down in the astral plane. You know, I'm actually fucking happy with either of those. Both sound exceedingly dope. I'm down with both of those.
But it's an interesting one as to whether we actually should... You guys need to ask Jewel. Well, no, you guys need to ask Jewel. Can you not ask the Watcher? Are the going to the astral plane? Is that a good idea? Anything along the.
Also, we've got the Star Touch crystal, which when the Dryad released the Elven Girls, they came out of starry portals, and the astral plane is a starry portal because the Watcher's got stars for eyes, right?
Yeah.
We could use the Star Touch crystal as a beacon and as a portal finder. We could try and retrofit it to become those things, those two water things that cross over when you find water under the earth. We could use it as we could literally use it as a radar system to find...
Whatever they're called, discerning rods or whatever they're called. Oh, God,
we could use it as a radar system for portals.
Yeah. Divining rods.
Because the Star Touch crystal's more powerful, because then it'll just find any portal rather than just shadow portals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
We need to find the Fey portal, remember, to get Callum back.
I'm loving all these ideas, but honestly, I believe that we have to remember that we are by no means the epitome of this age. There are people who know far more than us, and we need to not just be that group that also goes, help, but we do need to go, guys, you know more about this side than we do. Right, we're on the front lines, but please, can you research this? And it may well be that we don't, in our sessions, for 12, 15 sessions, we get nothing from them. But after that, they come back to us going, guys, we finally made this detector, this bomb, this incredible thing. We need to set the ball rolling now in all of those opportunities. Getting groups of people to be able to close them, getting people to be able to help us make these sensors and things. We need to do it. Because we know we can't just go, can you do this? And they go, give us half an hour. It's going to be, give us weeks. And we're going to go, okay, we'll go down to the cave. We'll go back to Thalissa. Same thing. We need to ask the Secret Order to find out information about who's corrupting Thalissa. We need to wait until we get that information. And in the meantime, we need to go and close a portal. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
Can I
real
ask you
time.
a moral question?
Go on.
Can I ask you guys a moral question about the portals? Because this is just like I'm spiraling in my fucking head right now. The thought of morally with portals, right? Do we consider, because you mentioned in Nihilin that there's portals that are open, and if there's a Fey portal open, creatures from the Fey can come across and do Fey things here on the material plane, right? Let me ask you guys this. Are we saying, because is our job to close the portals? Because let me like I understand at the moment we're seeing the shadow portals as an evil thing that is a tool being used by this guy, but does that also then completely cut off just a like morally a group of people that are actually just coming onto the material plane to live their lives in a different manner, similar to fake creatures and shit?
Like Lex's directive is planar disturbances and rifts that shouldn't be there. So if it's, for example, in Nihilin, using Campaign 1 knowledge, they are there because we have emissaries in the Feywild, and the Feywild have a relationship with us, and like an embassy type situation. They're actually set up as embassies. So those portals, I don't think Lex would have a problem with. It's the misuse of them that's the problem.
There are natural
which
portals.
is upsetting the balance of the world, essentially. But these some portals help with the balance of the world. So I think that's where Lex had come at it from.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there are natural portals. There are created intentionally portals, as you say, diplomatic. They're bridges that are intentionally created. And then there are, for want of a better word, unauthorized portals. And there's all the other ones, natural and created portals that have been now manipulated. Now, I think we all care about ones that have been manipulated or created without authorization.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
It will be interesting to work out whether has the portal in Stonebark always been there? Has it been corrupted, or has it been awakened? Has it been created without authority? These are all these types of questions that we need to work out and understand the rule set, and that's going to be born on Lex. Like, Jill will never know that, but this is going to be one of those interesting things. You're absolutely right. We've just gone portal close. We haven't done many, but you're absolutely
we
right.
We haven't considered like that might actually just be some creature's way to get to their fucking home, and that's their way to get to work and shit.
The only two we've come across, one of them was corrupted, and the other one, there's creatures coming out of it. But the other one, Danny Lex knows about, was the one that got him to and from Mechanic, so he obviously doesn't have a problem with that one.
But this was Dave's idea. The well is where this portal is, and I would be okay with knowing that a small village had a well that at the bottom of it had a portal to a water plane, and that's how they got fresh water. And they just corrupted. So it's been corrupted to the Shadowfell now, and has entirely corrupted and turned, as we saw the one that we manipulated to finish its completion. But because it's been so much time, she's been away for a year, it's taken a year for it to turn from a water portal to a shadow portal, and in that meantime it was like these little wisps of stuff coming through, whereas before it was a totally natural water portal, and that's how the well worked. Now that makes sense as to why we need to revert it or close it. Preferably
I was going to say, if our whole thing is not to disturb the natural order and portals that naturally exist, I was going to say, our job is actually not to close portals. Our job is to close created portals. Any portals that are natural, that are corrupted, is actually to uncorrupt them and bring them back to their natural
I
state.
suppose
but that is
it's
why
the ones that are being misused that's the problem, not how they were created. It's the ones that are causing an upset to the balance of good, evil, and all that shit.
We, in our ignorance, unfortunately, probably not a natural portal, but an intentionally created portal, we fucked up and is now closed. So,
if we had a problem with created portals, we wouldn't have travelled through so many trees with the druid.
I think the point is more. It's more the issue of portals that are created for misuse. I think you're right. I think you're totally right, Dave. I think we fucked it with the corrupted portal. Us closing that, no wonder. I mean, the Lord of Winter shit is a side thing, but I reckon that was probably a fucking mistake on our behalf. Or like bad rolling on our behalf. We should have.
We took too long to do it.
Yeah,
we took too long to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, we should have tried to convert it back.
But that's the thing. It's a learning curve for our party.
Yeah, totally.
Not what should we have done, but to know that there's a point when it's no longer something we can help, and it's better to close it. So
yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Glad to get on. I need now. I need to see what you all are thinking. Eldritch Press is in the chat. What's up?
We were having theories about what your character's going to be for next week.
Yeah, we are. We're fully waiting for the for whatever it's going to be, and it's going to be awesome, whatever it's going to be. So looking forward to that.
Guy.
I'm putting money on Mayanora.
Dude, if you're a bad guy, it's going to be so epic.
I'm going money on Mayanora. Yeah.
I feel we're going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger and you're going to be Predator next week, and that's how it's going to work.
That would be fucking dope. To be fair, that would be freaking awesome.
So looking forward to it for you to be with us as well. It's going to be really great.
Super hyped.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's our full-on conspiracy theories. Apart from the fact that that we know that Enowith is flat. So
I mean, have you not seen it on the map? If a map was an Earth,
flat,
it would do that weird bendy thing that maps do that are sphere at the top and the bottom, where they're all like, this is how it would be shaped. Our map doesn't do that. It's a flat map. I'm team flat ANF.
Don't be mistaken. We are riding on the back of a giant turtle, and you cannot persuade me otherwise. It is turtles all the way down. I'm sorry, but oh my goodness me. I mean, hopefully that is a decent recap. It's a very wandering recap, but it's been
helpful for me.
It's been
That's
wonderful.
The main thing.
Of our, was it 36, 37, episode 37 to 47?
36 to 47, yeah.
36 to 47.
And we actually covered every episode. We actually did cover every episode.
We did. We glanced over a couple of things, I realised. So, but hopefully we've hit all the key points for everyone who does need to catch up. We hope that these are really, all of our recaps that we've done are really useful for anyone who obviously looks at the fairly daunting task of catching up with like 47 episodes and going, oh my God, I can't do that. We get it too. So hopefully you've got like 2 episodes now where you can catch up with everything we've done and get on board with us, because we hope that you will join us along with our journey. We've got so much further to go, and we're all here for it because it's absolutely great fun. Have you guys got anything else to add, to say?
No, I think we've nailed it.
What a great journey. I think let's, everything that we talked about, let's work on those character developments, let's work on those nice scenes, let's work on all that shit. And I think, for me, actually, this was nice because it was a good check-in point for me. I think I learned a lot about Edgius. I've literally added things to my list of oh my God, I forgot that I was wanting to attach my shards to my sword. And Jules' dad is a blacksmith. I know what I'm asking him at the end of our fucking combat. I want to talk to Lex about the importance of cutting his hair. I realized that that's actually a conversation I really want to have with Lex of that seemed really symbolic. Let's talk about that a little bit, and let you have a bit of that moment of really express to us how much that fucking meant. I think learning that I'm training to kill Klein again, that actually all this training, when it comes down to it, if you ask Edgius in the back of his mind, I need to be ready to do what I couldn't do the first time. So I need to be fucking ready to do it again. I think I've appreciated this episode more than I ever thought I would, and I think guys, like, I feel very lucky to be part of this group. This is a dope group, and we have a lot of good shit ahead of us. I'm excited to explore the East. I'm excited to, if we get on an airship, dope. If we get in a ship, sick. If we get in a submarine, fucking awesome. I'm super excited for whatever vehicle use we end up going for in the next, couple of arcs. I'm looking forward to all
it's
that.
an absolute pleasure to have you, Bodhi, and Tom with us. It really is.
Snooks.
No, it's really great to have you on board, and we love it, and we're glad you're here. That you enjoy it as well. That's a really important thing that I think we want to put across as well.
We're all having fun, and that's the most important thing.
We are
Thanks,
having
Dad.
some ridiculous childish fun, and we love every second of it. And there is,
It's the friends you make along the way.
It's not the destination. It's not all the amazing skills and magic you picked up. It's the friends.
It's all
along
about
the
the
way.
dick jokes. We realise that.
Yeah, it's dick jokes and burning villages to the ground by accident.
By accident. Incredible.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah,
Okay, great recap.
looking forward to finding out whether any of our conspiracy theories are true. Looking back later, I'm sure, to find out that if our plans actually come to fruition, whether we do anything that we've just said tonight.
Yeah, our next recap episode will be going, we had loads of great ideas and we didn't do fucking any of them.
We didn't do a single one of them. I love all of the different. Yes, we tried it last episode, and I hope that we continue on. And that is that keeping RP to when it needs to be RP, and then keeping the story running when we need to keep the story running. I know I think that gelled really well last week, and I hope that we carry that on. But regardless, I think that'll be great fun.
Hell yeah.
Guys, if you've got anything that you want to add to our campaign, any good parts, any constructive criticism, give us a shout. Put it in our comments for YouTube. Join our Discord.
Get in the comments.
Get in the comments. Do it. And hit that cheeky subscribe button, because that's always love. But yeah, please do. I do strongly appreciate it. We all do. Thank you ever so much for joining us for our recap. I hope you have enjoyed tonight's episode. We will very much look forward to seeing you next week, where we have another special guest star from the Eldritch Press, and we are, as you can tell, we have no idea how he's going to be part of our group in any way, if at all. We could be fighting him. We could have them on board. No idea. And that is going to be, again, hilarious. I look forward to seeing you all guys next week. It's going to be great. Keep in touch with us on the socials to keep us keep a track as to what we're doing. But otherwise, we'll see you next week. See you later.